Good afternoon. My name is Celeste Granillo, and thank you for joining us once again for another installment of Breakthrough News. Today is Saturday, March the 17th, 2018, and I'd like to say happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there, and thank you so much for tuning in today. A lot has gone on this week, and I know I say that every week, but I think in the next few weeks, in a couple months, we're going to keep hearing that phrase, and it culminated last night with the termination of the Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe. To be honest with you, I did not think that this would happen. I did not think that the Attorney General, who's Jeff Sessions, I didn't think that Jeff Sessions had it in him to do this. I was stunned. I'm not going to lie. I was completely stunned. But I'm not going to sit there and celebrate it, but I'm not going to lose my mind over it. Like I saw people from different political leanings going, completely happy and berserk last night, and then I saw people on the left just losing their mind and becoming completely unhinged over it last night. But no matter what you believe, there are facts to his termination, and they are irrefutable. And I know people in this day and age do not like facts, especially the left, tend to not understand or grasp. I don't know what their issue is, but these are the facts. And I'm going to tell you why he was let go. One, unauthorized disclosure to the media. So probably leaks. Let's just call it what it is. And number two, and this is the official term, what they said was lack of candor, which means he lied. Just call it what it is. You're not supposed to lie. And if you are one of the head law enforcement officers in this country, you especially should not be lying. And it looks like you may have even lied under oath. I don't know why these people think they can get away with this, okay? And now I see why they fear Trump coming in. And I think McCabe had let it be known he couldn't stand Trump, okay? And so back in 2015, 2016, his wife decided to run for the state Senate. And now I think this is one of the major reasons why he should be let go, because of the story I'm going to tell you. So Mrs. McCabe ran for state Senate in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and she was given nearly $500,000 by Governor Terry McAuliffe. Now, Terry McAuliffe's name probably sounds familiar because he is one of Bill and Hillary Clinton's best friends. So while Mrs. McCabe is receiving this money from Terry McAuliffe, who's best friends with Bill and Hillary, and then Andrew McCabe is investigating Hillary Clinton's emails and the server and the whole thing. It just doesn't seem kosher. It seems like a huge conflict of interest. And I think on those grounds, he should be fired. Why would we want the deputy, head of the FBI to not have common sense? It's disturbing. So I'm glad that this has been dealt with, and it's about time. I'm hoping that this is the beginning of the swamp being drained. It needs to. If he can do things like this and think that he can get away with it, can you imagine what else Comey has done, who was his boss? Can you imagine what Mueller is up to? Can you imagine what Obama did, and Susan Rice and Eric Holder and the Attorney General, the other Attorney General under Obama, Loretta Lynch? Can you imagine what that whole assorted cast of characters have done? So I think this is about time. And you know what? If it has to start with him, then it has to start somewhere. So Trump went on Twitter and had a lot of colorful things to say about this. It's pretty funny. But I think that the fact is also, it's not like Trump just sat there and said, hey, let him go. He was, Andrew McCabe was investigated by the Office of Professional Responsibility. And that office is something equal to what internal affairs would be in a police department. So this office found McCabe guilty of these things. So I don't want to hear anything about it being a witch hunt. These are other FBI agents who decided that McCabe has done these things and they were wrong. So these are the facts. Just remember this when you're hearing partisan reasons on the news, whichever news you listen to. Remember these reasons, and if you could be pragmatic, which pragmatism needs to come into all of this, if you can be pragmatic, then you're not going to, you'll drown out all of the partisan nonsense over the whole thing. But I'd say it's about time. And it makes me believe in Jeff Sessions a little bit. I mean, I still haven't gone over the fact that he didn't want to recuse himself, but that he did recuse himself, but I think this is a good start. So, you know what? On his head be it, Also, too, the information about Jeff Sessions, the information about Andrew McCabe's wife receiving all that money, that information came to us, and I have to thank Julian Assange for that, because WikiLeaks first put out that email. And then other media outlets picked it up. So I just want to thank Julian Assange for that info. It's I like when things like that come out. Things like that need to come out. Then earlier this week, we're having an issue, and of course we jumped into it, but the United Kingdom has an issue now with Russia, and I know that it's a serious issue, but to me, I'm just so tired of the Russia bashing when there's more important things in the world to go on. But what happened is that there was a double agent, and he's living in London, and his daughter, they were eating at a cafe in London. They were struck down, and it turns out it was a nerve agent. And it's a very serious issue. So, of course, all these roads seem to lead to Russia on this. Now, this double agent and his daughter are still alive. They're still in a hospital in England. Because they're still alive makes me believe that Russia didn't do this, okay? If Russia wants to knock off somebody, it would be neat and it would be clean and it would be done, right? And that's the whole point. It would be completed. So the fact that these two people are still alive, and it's good that they are, but the fact that they are shows me that Russia probably did not do this, okay? But anyway, now this hysteria is just running loose throughout the UK, and on Tuesday, the UK Prime Minister Theresa May went out there and said, Russia, you have 24 hours to explain yourself. You need to tell me how this nerve agent came into the UK, blah, 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 blah. And of course, Putin just left it off, didn't even respond to it. So as a result, the next day, Theresa May went out there and she said that the United Kingdom would be expelling 23 diplomats. They were going to freeze Russian assets, and that the British royal family would not be attending the World Cup. The World Cup is going to be this year in Russia, by the way. And now, if I was a member of the British royal family, I would be mad, okay? I would love to go to the World Cup. Are you kidding me? And it's going to be in Russia this time around, so I would not be too thrilled about that. Then Russia came out and said, okay, well, then we're going to expel your diplomats. And they've done that. And then today they announced that they're going to close the British consulate in St. Petersburg. So then the UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, went out and she said, oh, yeah, we feel like we need to be a part of this. And yeah, we agree with the UK. So everybody just needs to calm down. This is getting out of control. And there is an old saying, do not poke the bear. Someone needs to tell this to Theresa May. Now, there are plenty of other ways this can be resolved. Theresa May could bring in the Russian ambassador and say, okay, tell me how this nerve agent came into the United Kingdom. There's many other things we can do rather than more sanctions and expulsion of diplomats. This is something, sanctions is basically war, okay? It's without declaring war, but it is something that you do in war. Expulsion of diplomats, same thing. This is a very dangerous time. And I know I roll my eyes about it only because of the hysteria behind it. There's no common sense behind it, and that's why I'm annoyed by the whole thing. But cooler heads need to prevail. And earlier this week in Russia, they said that the United Kingdom has chosen to essentially pick this fight with them. And they have. I agree with that statement. So everybody needs to calm down and we need to discuss this. Now, to be fair to the United Kingdom, this isn't the first time that a former agent has been poisoned. Okay, and they can say that, and then Russia could say, well, you know what? He was a double agent and we see him as a traitor. I don't know. Who knows what they think. But everybody needs to calm down. I mean, they're even talking about kicking Russia off of the UN Security Council. Now, I don't see that happening with China being on that too, but this can get out of hand so quickly. And with Putin making his speech last week, a couple weeks ago actually, it was something akin to what a State of the Union address that a president would make in this country. And he announced a new generation of Russian weaponry. Now, this stuff is incredible and it's amazing, to be honest with you. And there is nothing that the United States or the United Kingdom or NATO or anybody else in the West has. There's nothing that we have in our arsenal that could compete with these new things. One of which are missiles that can skirt around the defense shields that we have over Europe. And Putin showed video of it. On top of which, these missiles have nearly an unlimited cruising range. They can maneuver for an unlimited amount of time. So Putin said that these new hypersonic systems make anything that the US and NATO have completely useless, and he's right. He could have gone up there and just simply said, checkmate, thanks for playing, thanks for coming, and play the video. He could have done that, and he didn't, but he could have. And so I just think that it's ridiculous that Theresa May and even, Ambassador Haley would go up there and say, they did this, and they must pay, blah, 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 and more sanctions. It's a dangerous time, so I hope that this shows everybody that pragmatism needs to come back in. On top of which, Russia also announced that they now have unmanned underwater missiles, and these can carry nuclear warheads 100 times smaller than modern submarines do. So like I said, do not poke the bear. Do not poke the bear. So I hope that they realize it. On top of which, Putin is in the middle of an election. The Russian Federation will have their election tomorrow. Putin will most likely win. If he doesn't win, then, there's no moon, there's no sun, there's no stars. I know there's, nothing's ever for sure, but if he doesn't win, then I don't know, I'll do something. Tell me what you'd like to see me do if Putin doesn't win. But what all that Theresa May has done is given Putin another opportunity to exert his strength. All she has done is given Putin another opportunity to stand up to the West. This is free press for him. She should have done this after the election. It just was bad timing, and that's how ineffective of a leader that she is. She doesn't see ahead, and a lot of Western leaders can be accused of that. They don't see forward. So it's, like I said, expelling diplomats, it's just dangerous. It's very dangerous. So on top of all of that, there is a lot of interesting news coming out of China that I'll go into next week. I really want to break it down for you because it's a little bit heavy. You might want to take some notes. But I will say, get used to the phrase PetroYuan. And if you don't know what the petrodollar is, you have a few days to look it up. But the PetroYuan can possibly change our lives. And I don't want to be dramatic, but we don't know what the full ramifications of oil being traded for yuan will be. But if they're not going to use the dollar anymore, and if we lose that privilege, then things will change. So just bear that in mind. So I'm going to go into that next week. I'm also going to go into Turkey. I mean, I wish I was going to Turkey, but I'm going to discuss Turkey and what many people call their incursion. I call an invasion of Afrin Syria. So I will break that down and the issues with the Kurds. So stay tuned next week. I just want to thank everybody for joining me today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Any questions or comments, please leave below. If you enjoy this video, click like, share, subscribe, and I want to thank all of the new subscribers we've had as of late. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. Have a great day.